Good morning and welcome back to Newswatch3, Asbury's very own weekly news show.
We are so excited to bring you your weekly news every Tuesday. I'm Rachel Law.
I'm Addie Smith, and this week we take a look at how inflation affects students and give you a recap of the esports Mario Kart event from this past weekend.
Not only that, but we will also give you your local and national sports updates.
Last week, we saw how inflation has impacted the IGA and Wilmore as a whole.
Newswatch reporter Asa Callow gives us more information on how inflation affects college students, with gas prices still being elevated.
Going to college can be a real challenge for most people, and supporting yourself through it while paying tuition can make life much harder. And with U.S. inflation currently sitting at 6.41%, students aren't just struggling in the classroom. They're struggling at the pump as well. Right now, the average price for a gallon of gas in the United States of America is $3.50. Now, this is a steep incline from the last 4 years, as the average price then was $2.60. The station I'm currently at right now is selling gas for $3.09, and that is still putting a financial burden on students.
Prices have been going up. In my hometown in Colorado, it got to $5 this past summer, which is pretty nuts. Drive a Ford Escape that gets 17 to 18 miles per gallon. I do carry the financial kind of burden of trying to pay for driving to church and also kind of paying for school.
I drive a 2013 Volkswagen Passat. It's my baby. It takes diesel, so it's kind of hard to find. I have to go on a scavenger hunt. When I'm in school, I also do a sport, so I can't really do sport, job, and school. So I kind of have to be more careful about how I spend money.
According to the American Petroleum Institution, there are 38.9 million fill-ups each day in the United States. Knowing how dependent we are on automobiles, there are a few tips to help you save a little more while paying at the pump. And those include using one of these fuel injector cleaners for better gas mileage, cleaning your car's air filter, driving your car only when necessary, and walking when you can. In Wilmore, Asa Callow, Newswatch 3.
With inflation rising, conscious spending has become a necessity for college students.
Making those purchases to help save on gas is a step in the right direction.
An Asbury Student Emmy winning production is currently in the midst of their second season. Over the weekend, Asbury Esports took on a popular game, Mario Kart. The production, led by Noah Clark, featured a custom track that was then transformed by augmented reality into the popular racing game. There were the same elements in the original game, like coins, obstacles, and of course the coveted power-ups. Fans joined in to watch the races unfold as competitors tried to make their way through the bracket-style competition, all to get the star trophy. After a close final race, the racer Watoa claimed the victory for the night. On top of the actual races, the production was paired with colorful commentating and sideline interviews. This was just the first of 2 weekends in the production. The esports team is welcoming audiences back to watch their second race series this Saturday at 7:30.
After around a year of construction, the Student Center is officially open for Asbury students. Live reporter Christian Kotwitz is in the suits to give us an inside look at the new and improved area. Hey, Christian.
Hey guys, as you can tell, I am in the brand new Student Center. Now, some things have stayed the same, but some things are brand new. Now, the Eagle Outlet and Student Post Office has now been moved to downstairs. So if you want that brand new Asbury swag, you're gonna have to come here to the Stews. Now, also you can tell behind me, the Hiccup has now returned to its original location. Now, at the beginning of the semester, it was in the Kinlaw Library, but now it's come here. So if you want your cup of joe, you're gonna have to also come here to the Student Center. Now, also above me, what's brand new is the residential and intercultural offices are above me. So any problems or concerns you have with that, you can come here also to the Student Center. Now, finally, shout out to you students. We also have brand new ping pong tables and pool tables available for use, and also brand new printers and computers, kind of to supplement the ones in Kinlaw as well. Now, despite all the delays, there will be a dedication here in early March, but hey, I think it was well worth the wait. That's all I have. Back to you, Addie.
Thanks, Christian. Students have been more than ready for the grand reopening and to be back in the Stews once again. While there was some celebration last week, there will be a big dedication party on March 4th.
In the world of sports, reporter Asa Callow has all the updates on the Eagles' big wins and losses this past week and more. Asa?
Thanks, Rachel. It was another busy weekend here at Asbury. The women's softball team played a doubleheader against Manchester on Saturday. In the first game, the Lady Eagles fell short of victory by 3 runs. They had multiple chances to rally back with the bases loaded 3 times, but were unable to convert, falling 5-2. In the second game, the Spartans defeated the Eagles once more, only this time 9-2. Their next matchup will be another doubleheader against Midway on Friday at 3 here in Wilmore. The men's basketball team competed in the NCCAA Midwest Regional Tournament, which they hosted on Friday and Saturday. On Friday night, the men beat Kentucky Christian 108-74 and turned around and beat Alice Lloyd 88-70, crowning them the NCCAA Midwest Regional Champions and earning them a bid to the national tournament. And speaking of national tournaments, the women's basketball team will be playing in their Midwest Regional Tournament on Friday. If they win, they'll compete for a regional championship the following day to try and earn themselves a bid to the national tournament. Finally, the men's tennis team faced Hampton-Sydney on Friday and dominated with a score of 8-1. Their next match will be against Maryville College in Maryville, Tennessee. On January 15th, 23-year-old mother Jemiah Harris was gunned down by Michael Davis, a friend of former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles. Since the shooting, Miles have been removed from the Alabama men's basketball team, and both he and Davis have been charged with capital murder with no bond. Freshman forward Brandon Miller was linked to the shooting due to his involvement with dropping Miles and Davis off at a sports bar, then returning to the bar so that Miles could retrieve his firearm from the back seat and ultimately hand to Davis to use. Miller has been ruled out as a suspect in the case but has received a lot of media attention. Alabama head coach Nate Oates has decided to let Miller play despite the allegations off court. In a game against South Carolina on Saturday, Miller scored a career-high 41 points and made a last-second shot which gave the Tide the win. In the Tide's most recent win against Arkansas, Miller's pregame handshake resembled a pat-down similar to the ones used to search for weapons. Now, this is a celebration that has been used by many basketball players over the years, but the timing of the handshake makes it an ill-advised gesture. Here's what Coach Oates had to say about it.
It was brought to my attention after the game about our pregame introductions. I think that's something that's been going on all year. I don't really know. I don't watch our introductions. I'm not involved with them. I'm drawing up plays during that time. Regardless, it's not appropriate. It's been addressed, and I can assure you it definitely will not happen again.
There was a preliminary hearing on Tuesday, February 21st, and the case will go to a grand jury. Former YouTube star Jake Paul competed in his first professional boxing match on Sunday against Tommy Fury, the half-brother of two-time world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. Paul, who has been undefeated in non-professional competition, gained his first loss via split decision. Many question how Paul would fare in the pros, and despite the loss, Paul performed well and gained the respect of many who doubted him. On Sunday night, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers scored a career and franchise-high 71 points against the Houston Rockets. The difference between Lillard and the next highest score was 54 points, which is the third largest margin in NBA history, falling only short to Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant. Well, that's all the sports that I have for you this week. Addie?
Turning over to national news, any students currently holding federal student loan debt could be impacted by the ongoing arguments in the Supreme Court today. Two cases challenging President Biden's plan to cancel some of that debt from millions of borrowers is being presented before the justices. Karen Kafa is live in Washington with what to expect.
In limbo for months, President Joe Biden's federal student loan relief plan will have a turn before the U.S. Supreme Court Tuesday. Last August, Biden unveiled a sweeping plan to forgive up to $20,000 in federal student loan debt for borrowers whose income was less than $125,000 a year.
All this means people can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt to get on top of their rent and their utilities.
Supporters lauded the move as a big step forward to ending a college debt crisis compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Biden administration said among borrowers no longer in school, nearly 90% of relief dollars would go to those earning less than $75,000 a year. Republican critics called it political, landing as the 2022 midterm elections entered the home stretch, and argued writing off an estimated $430 billion in repayments should get congressional approval. In December, the Supreme Court agreed to take up two challenges to the plan, including one from 6 GOP-led states, Nebraska, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and South Carolina, while keeping a block imposed by an appeals court last November in place. Millions of borrowers have been notified they're approved for debt relief. No debt has been canceled yet. The Biden administration's case leans on the post-9/11 HEROES Act of 2003, which granted the U.S. Secretary of Education authority to make changes to the federal student loan program during national emergencies. But the White House intends to end the COVID-19 national emergency on May 11th, which may make that argument more challenging. In Washington, I'm Karen Gaifa.
The process is expected to be ongoing with no immediate results for students. However, by the end of the day, it may be possible to glean whether or not the estimated 40 million Americans will ever benefit from the plan.
Researchers are sounding the alarm on a popular artificial sweetener. A study found erythritol can double the chance of a heart attack or stroke. That is for people in the top quarter of those with the sweetener in their blood. The problem appears to be it causes blood to clot more easily, which can cause problems when those clots break off and travel to the heart. Researchers warn erythritol increases risk for heart attack and stroke as much as having diabetes does. You may have never heard of the sweetener because it's not typically used on its own. Instead, erythritol is frequently used to add bulk to stevia, monk fruit, and other sweeteners popular for people eating a keto diet. The study was published in the journal Nature Medicine, but so far it's only a preliminary study.
The creator of the comic strip Dilbert is getting more backlash after the cartoonist made comments last week that many have said are racist. Scott Adams says his publisher Penguin Random House will not print his forthcoming book, Reframe Your Brain. The book was set for release in September. Adams shared the news on Twitter on Monday. He said his publisher also will not sell any previous books he's written. Adams also says his book agent has canceled him. Hundreds of newspapers pulled the plug on Dilbert last week after Adams called blacks a hate group and urged segregation in posting a video on YouTube.
A man in Connecticut is using his disability to inspire others, and with the help of TikTok, he's been able to reach a wide audience. Eliza Krasinski has his story.
Just like every other 25-year-old.
George, he's fine. He's fine, baby. Hi.
Living a normal life in Hartford, Connecticut, hanging with friends, going to the gym, and of course, making TikToks. Timur Mason was born into a different body. He has no legs and only one arm. He was adopted from Moscow, Russia when he was 3. His birth mother was exposed to radiation from Chernobyl.
In the letter, actually, I just read it lately. She had basically said that she didn't want to raise a monster.
Not letting any of his physical differences stop him from living his best life. He says that wouldn't be possible without the help from his adoptive mother.
She always stood up for me to use my voice and be myself and really just supported me and not cutting me any slack.
He's certainly using that voice.
So I just push go right here, and that starts it. And then I just do my little daily waddle on this.
He brings that upbeat energy and his daily waddle to social media, which definitely didn't go unnoticed in the TikTok world.
To an ordinary eye, I think it looks peculiar seeing a guy with no legs on a treadmill. People would DM me and stuff like that and be like, how do you do this? How do you do? And I realized I had an opportunity to share with the world how a disabled person lives.
And always keeping the message positive.
And life's hard. Give yourself that credit and realize that, limbs or not, it can be difficult. And it's how you persevere and get through it that's important.
Now that really is someone who doesn't let anything come in their way.
He really does have an inspiring story and a positive message.
Timur's journey documents his daily life and his journey on TikTok at Timmy Cripple.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And trusting us to give you your weekly news.
We'll see you next Tuesday, Asbury.